Hello, I'm Duck, and I'm going to teach you how to create lasers and fire whenever you press a button to activate them. Alright, first I'm going to select this entity button tool right here. For object, I'm going to type in env_laser. Okay, in my top camera view right here, I'm going to make lasers from right here. It's going to be placed right here. It's going to be shooting down right here too. Okay. I'm going to pick out a few places in this ceiling right here. So in my top view, I'm going to select here. In my front view, I'm going to select just right there on the surface, create object. And now the laser entity is inside the primitive right here. Okay, now you're going to have to cast this the laser beam to shine down here. To do this, first you want to give this entity a name. I double clicked in the camera view. For the name, I'm going to give it laser or lasers. Click apply. Flags. If you want this the laser to be turned on by a button, make sure none of these are marked. And for here, brightness, you can pick your beam color. I'm going to choose green for now. Width of beam, these are in pixels. I'm going to leave it right there. Sprite name. Right here is to choose your damage, of how much damage you want it to make it a complete kill on contact. Make the damage at least that much. You can click apply. Okay, now to add the target for the beam, I'm going to click on this entity tool. For the objects, I'm going to type in info_target. And down here on the ground, I'm going to, in my top view, click right here, and on the ground down here, I'm going to click like that, where it's right on top of the ground. Double click that, give it a name, put down lasers target, click apply. Okay. Now I'm going to go back to my laser entity up here. Double click on it, and to add the laser for it to go down here to this info target right here, where it says target of laser, you're going to type in the name that you gave that info target. So I'm going to type in lasers target. I'm going to click apply. As you can see, this yellow line shows from going from the EMV laser to down to the info target. So you have successfully made one laser. Alright, to make more, I'm going to show you how to do that. You hold down the shift button, which you can copy more things and stuff, like you put in your map, you can copy more primitives. But I'm going to select both of these. To do this, you hold down the control button, the MV laser select, then we'll select this info target, and then release the control button. And to copy these, I'm going to hold down the shift, and I'm going to drag, selecting with the left mouse. I'm going to move probably out to about right there in the middle. And of course, it uses the same target right here. So I shouldn't have done that. Okay, never mind. Just make sure you have the laser selected. Just copy out. That isn't going to work either. Forget it. I'll just add more EMV lasers. And you would pretty much have to do this for each laser that you would put in the map. Okay. Gotta fix a little something up here. Okay, these were down on the ground, so I'm going to bring these up on the top. Okay, now they're fixed. Okay, now I'm gonna add my info targets. Okay, I want to, let's see here. Yeah, okay. Right click, create object for that. Right click, create object. Create object. Create object. Create object. Create object. Create object and create object. Okay, now I have all my NFO targets down here on the ground, and for each laser up here, you have to give them a name. Just for right now, leave the name of this EMV laser for each laser that you put in here, so that way whenever you use the button can use just one name to turn off each or turn on each laser that you would put in your map. So for the name, I'm gonna leave it lasers, and for all the info targets, you gotta give them each a name. Type in 1, 2, and so on. I'm not going to do them all right now because that'll take more time. I'm just going to do these next two. Okay. But first, I'm going to go enter report, choose all my lasers, properties, and for the name, I'm going to give it a name. I'm going to call them all lasers. This is just something quick I'm doing. So now each EMV laser is named laser, and each of these info targets are for the lasers to shine their beam on. Etc. Okay, I'm not going to do all of them because it'll take more time. Now to make fire activate whenever pressed on a button, I'm going to show you how to do that. I'm going to select my entity tool right here. For objects, I'm going to type in EMV fire. Okay, I'm going to add each spot where I put I'm just going to put a few. 4 for right now. And I'm going to give each of these a name, but I'm going to leave them all the same name. To select more than a bunch of entities at one time, just go to Map, Entity Report. So I have a list of my entities here. For the EMV fire, I'm going to select this, hold on the Shift key, and go down to this last EMV fire. Then I'm going to click on Properties. And for the name, I'm going to give them all a name, just fire. Click Apply. Now, you'd have to activate this where it'll turn off whenever you go through your map. And none of these are selected. Where it says turn on, leave that off. Start full, leave that off. What you want to click is infinite duration. Click Apply. Go back to class info. No parent. Start disabled. You want to click yes. Click Apply. Duration, don't worry about that. Size, however big you want your flame. The attack, amount of fire it takes to glue. Okay. Your damage skill, you can have it multiplies of the burn damage done by the flame. Depends on how much you want your flame to damage people. Okay. You see my fire is right there. It's kind of in the ground a little bit, that doesn't matter. Okay, now I'm going to add the buttons. Okay. The button, you can use props, but that I'm not going to show you for right now. I'm going to show you how to make a button out of primitives. Okay, first I'm going to click this block tool. Go over here to browse for textures. And for the texture, I'm going to type in button. Give it a second to load. Okay, I have a list of textures that come up for buttons. I'm going to choose this one. Okay. Now, in my bottom floor, I want to make sure that whenever someone wants to turn on this button, they would be able to be tall enough for it to be able to reach it. To see if how tall your character will be whenever he goes up to this button, what you can do is select this entity tool. This is what I do. For the objects, we're going to type in info underscore player. See, automatically highlight for counter terrorist. And in my 3D view, I'm going to click right here with the entity tool selected, and it places the counter terrorist right there. Okay, and he is 72 units high, so that's 6 foot. Okay, now I'm going to resize this primitive out here to make the size of the button. I'm going to resize my wireframe down, and I'm going to go where this counter terrorist is at. I'm going to resize out my block tool just a little bit. Okay, as you can see, I have multiple texture detail here. I'm going to resize this down to where it only shows one face of this button. You can see here, but it shows multiple sides on that side. Resize that down, and you see I have the multiple faces. I'm just going to edit these faces. You can place more than one texture on a primitive. To do that, you want to click on this application mode tool, and you see this window pops up. Okay, for this where it says mode, you want to click that, click on apply texture only, and you want to browse for a texture. I'm going to type in metal. Use a simple solid a base metal here. I'm going to click on this one, and in my 3D view, I'm going to move my camera around and select this side of this button, this side, and underneath it. As you can see, I have added more than just one texture on this primitive. Okay, to add this into a button, what I'm going to do is select the selection tool. In my 3D camera view, select the primitive, hold down the Control T, which is a shortcut for tie to entity, and for the class, I want to make it a func underscore button. Click apply. For the name, I need to give it a name. I'm going to type it button. It doesn't really matter as long as you don't have spaces in the name. Okay, you want to go over here to flags, click on don't move, use activates unless you want to shoot it to activate it, etc. And you click apply. Parent, you don't really need that. This you don't really need to worry about. What you want to do right now is for the outputs to turn on the fire and lasers that will inflict a lot of damage on you. You'd have to set the damage scale for all the lasers too, because as you can see before, I only added the damage scale to 9,999 on just one of them EMP lasers. Each one you got to go through and add each of the properties to it. Okay, now for the button. As you can see, whenever I double clicked it in the camera view, I went to outputs, and I'm going to click on add. And for my output name, I'm going to click this underscore bar, and I'm going to click on pressed. Target entity's name. You can either type in the name of the fire name or your laser name, or you can click this little eyedropper tool, and you can scroll over to the let's say fire. Click that, and you can see that it puts in the name there. And for via this input, you want to click on enable, or you can put start. Oh, you want to click on start fire. You can have that delayed in seconds whenever they press the button. You can have it start in 1/5 of a second, a whole second, etc. And then you click apply. Now you want to add another button to turn on these lasers. Okay, for my output name, you want on pressed again. For the target entities named, you probably want your lasers. And for the via input, you want this to be turned on. And you click apply, because each entity can use a different input. Okay, that should be pretty much it for the buttons and stuff. Just like I said, you have to go through each laser here and add it to its info target, and you have to make sure it's in the ground a little bit, because if it's sticking out of the ground, wherever this info target is where it's going to stop. And any more questions you can check with the forums and stuff like that, and that's about it. Thanks.